I saved Xiao Jinhé's life by sacrificing my own innocence. Yet he insisted I did it deliberately, coveting the position of crown princess. Later, when enemy forces besieged the city, they demanded the crown princess be sacrificed to end the siege. Xiao Jinhé smiled and nodded, replying, "Agreed." He claimed I had stolen my elder sister's belongings and that it was time to repay them. He hung me from the city wall, leaving me to be pierced by countless arrows. He possessed 100 ways to turn defeat into victory. Yet he declared this fate was entirely my own doing. Main text. I awoke from the nightmare. A crowd stood around me, their expressions complex. Mother sat by the bed, tears streaming down her face. Father sat stern-faced, silent, dazed. I thought, wasn't I already dead? I raised my hand and slapped myself twice across the face. My cheeks immediately burned with stinging pain. Mother hurriedly grabbed my hand. Father barked, "You worthless thing. Don't you know shame?" His rebuke made me flinch, and the sharp pain beneath me finally pulled me back to reality. I had lost my virginity. Memories flooded back. I recalled Xiao Jinhé, poisoned by the flower toxin, forcing me into his arms and taking me roughly. He had called out my sister's name over and over, yet used me as his antidote. Xiao Jinhé came to visit me. Calling it a visit was a euphemism for probing my thoughts. He vowed to make that audacious bitch who drugged him suffer a miserable death, to avenge my shame. Leaning against the soft couch, I gazed at his jade-like features. As I stared, tears fell. A flicker of guilt flickered in his eyes. With rare tenderness, he picked up a handkerchief and wiped away my tears. I could never have imagined that this young man before me would, years later, cruelly inflict upon me a pain like 1,000 arrows piercing my heart. Yet in my dreams, his coldness, his disgust, his contempt toward me very glance, every word remained vividly clear. My tears flowed uncontrollably. Xiao Jinhé grew slightly impatient, his brow furrowing slightly. "I know your grievance. Rest assured, I have requested a reward for you. Think carefully about what you desire." His words held a peculiar meaning. He knew full well what kind of compensation could possibly make up for a maiden losing her virtue for him. Yet he refused to give it. Instead, he pushed the difficult decision back onto me. He could never have imagined that the timid, reserved girl I usually was would dare petition the Empress for a royal marriage decree. Less than a cup of tea's time after Xiao Jinhé entered my room, my elder sister rushed over upon hearing the news. During my illness these past days, she hadn't once looked my way. My sister despised me openly and unapologetically, yet no one in our household blamed her, for I had once caused her displacement. According to my elder sister, she had sneaked out of the manor at 9 because I craved sweet soup. When mother forbade it, I urged her to buy it for me. Thus, she was abducted. But I never loved sweets. Father said, "What child doesn't love sweets?" Mother said I must treat my elder sister well. Everyone tacitly agreed that in this life, I owed her. I could feel the things I possessed slipping away bit by bit. First it was a handkerchief, then a garment, followed by father's attention and mother's favoritism, until that youth who once vowed to marry none but May's gaze followed my elder sister, growing ever more distant. When my elder sister arrived, Xiao Jinhé was wiping my tears. She yanked him away and slammed her fist into his chest. "Xiao Jinhé, have you abandoned me?" She was utterly improper, but Xiao Jinhé adored it. "What nonsense are you spouting? Don't you care about hurting your hand?" He scolded her playfully, his voice brimming with affection. "I heard everything from mother. She said, you and Luo Yufu, the Empress Dowager, intends to betroth her to you." Her lips trembled as she sniffled. Her usually radiant face made pitifully adorable in tears. Xiao Jinhé pressed his index finger to his lips, signaling my sister to keep quiet. His gaze swept over me as he spoke, each word deliberate and sharp. "The second young miss saved my life. Such a great debt needs no thanks. I shall repay her well. But beyond that, there is nothing more, nothing more." My virtue meant nothing in Xiao Jinhé's eyes. His words poured over me like a bucket of cold water, chilling me to the bone. Xiao Jinhé and I had known each other for 6 years. All the special favors had once shown me, all the moments that had made my heart flutter in this instant, they all became a laughable delusion of my own making. After recuperating for several days, Her Majesty the Empress invited me to the palace for a private audience. She hosted a banquet in the imperial garden, prepared my favorite plum wine and pastries, and spoke only of her fondness for me. I've long heard of the second young lady of the Luo family, the censor's daughter, unconventional and unruly. Meeting you today, I see the rumors are true. If I had a marvelous daughter-in-law like you, I'd burn incense and pray to the Buddha for such divine blessing. Jinhé mentioned your birthday is approaching. Is there anything you desire? The atmosphere was truly delightful. I drank a few extra cups, feeling my cheeks flush crimson. I longed to seize the courage from the wine to plead for a future with Xiao Jinhé. Your Majesty, this humble maiden dares to request a match. Xiao Jinhé sat directly across from me. He held his wine cup, a chill deepening in his eyes. If I insisted on marrying him, would he truly be capable of letting me suffer a fate pierced by 10,000 arrows? In my dream, after we wed, my elder sister threw herself into a frenzy of despair, causing an uproar throughout the city. The Empress Dowager punished her, sentencing her to shave her head and become a nun. Yet, unexpectedly, Xiao Jinhé disregarded all moral and legal constraints, storming into the nunnery to bring her back to the crown prince's residence. His love for her was so profound that he would defy the entire world to possess her. His life had always been smooth sailing. Whatever he desired, he never failed to obtain. Yet what others offered him could never match the significance of what he had fought for himself. His love for my elder sister, polished through repeated trials, shone with a radiant brilliance. It was no longer merely a romance, but the pinnacle of his solitary struggle, standing alone against the thunderous fury of the world. She was his pearl, embodying his fearlessness. How could he allow such a pearl to be tarnished? Therefore, I must die. Only in death could I yield the splendid setting for the legendary tale of his fury ignited by his beloved. The Empress smiled sweetly, asking which nobleman I favored. Xiao Jinhé's name was on the tip of my tongue, yet I could not utter it. Every moment in my dreams felt as real as lived experience. Truthfully, my affection for him had worn thin over the years. What remained was only a lingering reluctance. Your Majesty, this humble maiden. Before I could finish, a sudden commotion erupted in the crowd. Servants swarmed to shield the Empress and Xiao Jinhé. An arrow shot straight toward me, its tip gleaming with a fierce cold light. In a daze, I saw countless arrows rushing toward my face, piercing my heart. The terror of death swept over me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Xiao Jinhé, I beg you. I don't want to die. The arrow slammed into the table before me. Snapping back to reality, I realized how absurd my outburst had been. Fortunately, the chaos of the moment meant few noticed my lapse. Someone grabbed my arm and pulled me to my feet. Why didn't you dodge? Xiao Jinhé's voice carried a thin edge of anger. I kept my head bowed, unable to meet his gaze. Words choked in my throat, but I dared not speak. I feared I might break down crying, afraid to embarrass myself. Someone galloped up on horseback. Xiao Jinhé barked. Wan Yen Shu, you grow more insolent by the day. So be it. What can your highness do about it? The voice boomed above me, deep, unconcerned, unrestrained, and insolent. I saw only a hand, with knuckles sharp as chisels, plucking the arrow from the table. My whole body trembled involuntarily. The rider on horseback chuckled softly. He was mocking me, mocking my cowardice. Wan Yen Su. It was Wan Yen Su. It was him, leading the iron hooves that trampled our dynasty's lands. It was him who demanded my life as a war offering, granting me 1,000 arrows piercing my heart. For in my dreams, I had blinded one of his eyes. In recent years, The northern state of D had grown powerful, clashing repeatedly with our forces, both sides suffering heavy losses. To preserve peace, the two nations exchanged hostages, pledging mutual non-aggression. Wang Yansu was that ill-fated hostage. Yet call him unlucky. And yet he lived ever more luxuriously in the capital for over 3 months. He was treacherous to the core, arriving with 3 concubines, each more bewitching than the last. He immediately thrust them into the imperial harem, a blatant attempt to seduce the emperor. Though the emperor was no fool, faced with such beauty, he readily granted Wang Yanshu every possible indulgence. I've never seen a hostage act so brazenly. Riding horses within the palace grounds was one thing, but even when not attending court, he was permitted to carry bows and arrows. He outshone even Crown Prince Xiao Jinhé in privilege. Yet throughout the court, while openly criticizing his irreverent nature, people whispered, "They say the Wanyan clan is calm and cunning, but this one is nothing but a reckless fool." No real threat. Even I couldn't believe that someone like Wang Yansu would, years later, kill his own brother and father, becoming a mortal danger to our dynasty. But I saw that possibility. I truly feared him. He was a monster raised among beasts, a lustful, brutal war profiteer. I practically fled the banquet, regardless of whether the dream was real or not. I had to eliminate any chance of being connected to Wang Yansu. Forgetting propriety, I grabbed my skirt and jogged through the palace. Xiao Jinhé chased after me for some reason. I shook off his hand, a frightened bird, shrieking, "Don't touch me." After a moment's pause, he frowned and asked, "You're usually so composed. This loss of composure, is it because of Wang Yanshu?" He was sharp, as always. I didn't want to say more. I only asked him, "Your Highness, did you summon me for a reason?" Perhaps my impatience was too evident, for Xiao Jinhe's expression turned cold. "I merely wished to ask the second young lady, the marriage you sought earlier, whose marriage was it?" So had come to pressure me. "Regardless of who it is, it's none of your Highness' concern. I know your heart isn't with me. And I never intended to repay favors with demands." He stood with his hands behind his back, a flicker of surprise passing through his eyes. All these years, I, a reserved person, had been fiercely and openly affectionate only toward him. Everyone in the capital knew how profoundly I admired him. So, he surely wouldn't believe I could let go so gracefully. I decided to be blunt with him. "The young master of Minister Chen's household is exceptionally gentle and carefree. Truly, I think if he doesn't mind that I've lost my virginity, then perhaps Her Majesty could grant him a leisurely post, allowing him to take me to Jiangnan. If he does mind, then I shall remain unmarried for the rest of my life. It's hardly the end of the world." Xiao Jinhe's brow furrowed slightly. His thin lips trembled, yet no words came out. He stared at me unblinkingly, as if trying to see right through me. Chen Huaya's affection for me was like mine for Xiao Jin, hesitant yet immense. For as many years as I pursued Xiao Jinhé, had pursued me. After spring arrived, painted boats gradually filled Jinming Lake. Chen Huayu sent me another invitation, asking me to cruise the lake with him. He invited me every year, and I declined every year. But this time, I wanted to meet him. Unfortunately, when I arrived at the pier, I ran into my elder sister and Xiao Jinhé. She had been sweetly smiling at Xiao Jinhé moments before, but upon seeing me, her expression immediately soured. She turned and urged Xiao Jinhé to hurry aboard. By protocol, someone of his stature shouldn't mingle with commoners at such times. But my sister adored lively gatherings, so he repeatedly broke protocol. Sneaking out of the palace to accompany her, Xiao Jinhé boarded the pleasure boat, lifted the curtain to usher my sister into the cabin, paused, then turned to ask me, "You, alone?" His tone and expression made me mistakenly think he wanted to invite me along. Did he feel guilty toward me? Hypocrite. Suddenly irritated, I averted my gaze and replied while looking toward Chen Huayu in the crowd, "I have plans." Chen Huayu approached carrying a basket of green apricots. ID wondered why Head asked me to wait for him. Turns out he knew my sweet tooth craved some fresh fruit. Head met Xiao Jinhé before, holding his own with the dignified bearing of a scholar. He handed me a translucent yellow apricot. Smiling, I washed it. Try it, see if it's sweet. This man. How to describe him? Head pursued me for years. Yet even when we finally met, he never seemed to be trying too hard to curry favor. He moved with the ease of a breeze, following his own rhythm, unruffled by anyone. I reached out to take the green apricot, about to take a bite, when my elder sister suddenly snapped. You never learn, do you? Always greedy. Do you think you'll ruin someone else's life over a bite of food? Don't you ever reflect? Don't you feel a shred of guilt? All these years, she's poured out her bitterness relentlessly. That incident where I caused her to get lost is now common knowledge. Most people say it wasn't really my fault. After all, I was just a child back then, seeing that I hadn't drowned in her scorn. My sister remained bitterly resentful, so every few days, she'd seize an opportunity to take a jab at me. Before, I'd only endure. Father told me to endure. Mother told me to endure. Even I believed that if I just endured, my sister would eventually get over it. But remembering her actions in my dreams stirring up trouble, framing May endured again and again, only for her to become more relentless. How could I endure any longer? So you're saying I should sew my mouth shut and starve myself to death to atone for my sins? Is that it? This was the first time I'd ever defied her. The cabin fell silent for a moment before my sisters choked. A grieved voice called out, Xiao Jinhé. Come in. His gaze flickered between me and Chen Huayu for a second before he lifted the curtain and stepped into the inner cabin. Today's outing had been meant for an open conversation with Chen Huayu, but my sister ruined the mood. In a foul mood, I remained silent the entire journey. He didn't disturb me, instead pulling out a scroll of miscellaneous notes and leaning back in the cabin, reading with relish. Occasionally he'd glance up at me, peel a fruit for me, or pour me another cup of tea. I was angry. He was reading not a single word of comfort. What a strange man. Yet his quiet presence felt strangely soothing. Feeling somewhat guilty toward Chen Huayu, I suppressed my rising irritation. Waving my handkerchief at the mandarin ducks on the lake, I coaxed him out of the cabin to admire the scenery. I'd heard he loved poetry gatherings, so I cleared my throat and recited a verse. The fisherman, sobered, rows onward. The mandarin ducks fly away. Yet glance back, Chen Huayu bit his lip. Silent. Turning away. I saw his shoulders tremble. Must have been laughing at me. How rude. I grew annoyed. What are you laughing at? He couldn't hide his amusement. Waving apologetically. Miss Luo's talent is remarkable. The verse is fine. But those two aren't mandarin ducks. They're wild ducks. Embarrassment flushed my cheeks. I forced a couple awkward laughs. Seeing my reaction, his smile broadened. Watching him like that, I couldn't help but burst into laughter myself. The boatman must have been too busy watching us laugh. The boat swayed and drifted off course, bumping into another vessel. Our boat was small with low railings. The sudden jolt nearly sent me tumbling into the lake. But someone on the bow of the opposite boat reached out and caught me. I steadied myself, intending to pull away and thank him, but he gripped my arm tightly, refusing to let go. I looked up. It was Wan Yanshu again. He crouched at the bow of his ornate pleasure boat, his eyes meeting mine at eye level. He gazed at me with a haunting intensity, as if peering up from the depths of an abyss. Despite the sweltering heat, I broke out in a cold sweat. You have a beautiful smile. What is your name? I remained silent, and his expression visibly hardened. Chen Huayu stepped forward to rescue me. He bowed to Wan Yanshu and said, Thank you, Your Highness, for your assistance. The boatman was foolish and startled your vessel. I beg your forgiveness. Wan Yanshu merely glanced at him briefly before his gaze returned to me. Could it be a beautiful mute? He suddenly pinched my chin, forcing my mouth open, narrowing his eyes. He smiled. If you were mute, it would be a waste of that lovely tongue. Otherwise, pull it out and give it to me. My scalp prickled, but I forced myself to stay calm. Chen Huayu yanked me backward, shielding me behind him. Wang Yanshu was arrogant and tyrannical. Even nobles gave him wide berth. I hadn't expected Chen Huayu to possess such audacity, but he didn't know the man before him was a bandit cloaked in a splendid exterior, utterly devoid of humanity. I couldn't provoke Wang Yanshu, nor could I endanger Chen Huayu. Your Highness, I am Luo Yufu, the second daughter of the censorate. I curtsied respectfully before Wang Yanshu. His murderous glare finally shifted away from Chen Huayu. So you were the little girl I startled with my horseback archery in the Imperial Garden last time, were you? I nodded. Suddenly, he thrust his hand toward me. Come here. I'll apologize to you. Apologize. How could I dare accept his apology? I only wanted to flee far away. But this matter was not up to me. Chen Huayu frowned. I tugged at his sleeve, signaling him not to intervene for me. Suppressing my trembling, I reached out to Wang Yanshu. He grabbed my forearm and gave a gentle tug. Seizing the momentum, I leapt to his side. All the way, I stood at the bow, thinking that if anything went wrong, I'd jump into the lake and flee. Wang Yanshu seemed to see through my thoughts, his tone slightly displeased. I merely enjoy wielding swords and spears. Is that truly worth such fear? I shook my head hastily, crouching before him. It is my cowardly nature that has displeased your highness. I offer my apologies. Cowardly. He gave a soft chuckle, the amusement lingering on his face. I didn't see any cowardice when you drank yourself tipsy with the Empress, nor when you were laughing like a fool reciting those ridiculous poems with Chen Huayu. Why do you suddenly become a coward the moment you see me? Huh. His question left me speechless. I couldn't very well tell him. You loved me in my dreams, but I didn't love you back. I accidentally injured your eye, and in your rage and shame, you hunted me for years until you pierced my heart with 1,000 arrows. Wang Yanshu was a mad dog who, once enraged, would never relent until he was dead. My palms broke out in a cold sweat. The midday sun beat down dizzyingly. The jewel-encrusted boots vanished from my sight. An umbrella landed at my feet. Wang Yanshu commanded coldly. Hold it steady. He turned back, a bow drawn in his hand, thinking he wanted shade. I slung the umbrella over my shoulder. Instead, he lowered the canopy, blocking my forward view. He drew the bowstring taut, narrowing his eyes menacingly. Aren't you afraid of this thing? With that, he released a cold arrow. A commotion erupted. Me elder sister's shriek. I tossed the umbrella aside and saw Xiao Jinhé's guards drawing swords to shield him mere paces away. The lake surface glistened with the broken shaft of an arrow split clean in two. Wang Yanshu had gone too far, provoking imperial authority time and again. He glanced at me, picked up the umbrella, and held it steady. No wolf tolerates others encroaching on its territory, especially when they eye its mate with such hunger. My brows furrowed. But he cut me off. I know you're not mine yet, but in pursuing you, this is our time alone. I dislike interruptions. Xiao Jinhé's boat turned course. Wang Yanshu's lips curled in a cold sneer. Damned thing. His gaze shifted backward. Look at that one. At least he has some sense. Following his gaze, I saw Chen Huayu's boat moored beneath weeping willows. He sat at the bow, book in hand, though his expression was obscured. I suspected he was watching over my safety. Lost in thought, I remained still until Wang Yanshu's icy voice brushed against my ear. If you wish to see him, bring your boat closer. Though I can't guarantee whether the boat or the arrows will arrive first, I snapped back to reality, meeting a pair of eyes crinkled in a sharp, mocking smile. In my dreams, Wang Yanshu had been the same, bluntly declaring his affection for me. Had confessed his fondness for my soft lips, my slender waist, the sway of my hips as I walked. His affection was shallow, skin deep, which was precisely why had so easily resorted to killing me. I could only play along, hoping not to provoke his wrath. Once he grew tired of me, He might let me go, or I could leave the capital and head south. As a hostage, he couldn't follow me. No matter how well the emperor treated him, he wouldn't let him slip from his grasp. Then, Wang Yanshu's obstacle would be overcome. Several days later, Xiao Jinhé appeared at my residence, announcing the empress had invited me to the palace again. My elder sister, dressed in vibrant finery, shot me a warning glare upon arrival. Don't speak out of turn before Her Majesty. Some things aren't yours to beg for. Then she tugged at Xiao Jinhé's sleeve, pouting. Where shall we go play today? She's still worried I might marry Xiao Jinhé. I smiled silently, watching him pull his arm away as he told my sister. I can't accompany you today. Mother Empress needs me to go with her. Stay home obediently. In a couple days when the lychees arrive at court, I'll bring some out. We'll go to White Horse Mountain to feast and admire them. Her eyes lit up instantly. She shot me a triumphant glance and nodded like a chick pecking at grain. If Luo Yufu dares to beg for something she has no right to ask for, you absolutely must not agree. She urged Xiao Jinhé. Poor sister still didn't know that Xiao Jinhé had earlier sent me a note, urging me not to sulk and entrust my future to a mediocre man like Chen Huayu. He offered me the position of secondary consort, his words dripping with condescension. As if I should kneel at his feet in gratitude. I suppose he grew uncomfortable when I suddenly stopped revolving around him. Now he's offering me a sweet carrot, hoping I'll resume idolizing him so he can bask in the satisfaction of being loved without reservation. I was blind before, mistaking him for a paragon of virtue. After waking from that grand illusion, I see things clearly now. Xiao Jinhé is nothing but a thoroughly vulgar man, greedy, vain, selfish, and deceitful. He constantly seeks opportunities to prove that everyone and everything is under his control. Whether it concerns my elder sister or me, the Empress said. These past few days, Jinhé mentioned to me that as a young lady, you are shy and reserved. Naturally, it should be this palace that speaks on your behalf regarding marriage. He has a point. It was this palace's oversight. I glanced at Xiao Jinhé, who sat with a stony face, refusing to meet my gaze. You and Jinhé have known each other for years. His nature is outwardly expressive, while yours is quiet and reserved, truly a perfect match. Now that matters have come to this. If you do not disdain him, the two of you could form a truly splendid union. What do you say? The Empress spoke with feigned humility, yet her expression betrayed pride. She must have assumed I'd accept the decree with endless gratitude. So when I declared my heart was already taken and I wouldn't wrong the crown prince, the look on their faces, mother and son, was truly something to behold. My refusal was crystal clear. Yet 2 days later, the imperial decree of marriage still landed squarely on my shoulders. As my parents escorted the eunuch out of the estate, I stood frozen in place, clutching the edict, my limbs numb with cold. My elder sister shoved me, and the force of her slap snapped me back to reality. You shameless bitch. You have to steal everything from me. Her hand stung fiercely against my cheek. I flung the edict to the ground and raised my own hand, striking her back with all my strength. My sister clutched her face. After the initial shock, she lunged at me like a madwoman. I kicked her hard, sending her crashing to the ground. Truth be told, every time she bullied me, I'd retreat to my room and pound a punching bag. It was better than nothing. When it came to physical strength, I was leagues ahead of that useless fool. Have you lost your mind, Luo Yufu? How dare you hit me? Just then, Xiao Jinhé turned back and witnessed the scene. He quickly helped my sister up, pulling her into his arms to comfort her. Xiao Jinhé, you promised me you wouldn't marry her. You promised me. My sister pounded his chest, wailing. She's a scheming bitch. How did she just happen to be passing by when you were drugged? It was all her doing. She has no shame. She doesn't deserve to be crown princess. She's full of deceit. Xiao Jinhé paused slightly, glancing at me. I said, it was the same in my dream. At first, He clearly felt guilty toward me for quite some time. Why did his gaze toward me grow increasingly cold and disgusted later on? So someone had been whispering lies in his ear. Whether lies or truth, repeated often enough, they become reality. I yanked her from Xiao Jinhé's embrace and slapped her twice across the face. Listen to me clearly, Luo Yuzhen. Dare you slander me once more, and I'll tear your mouth apart. I've endured you long enough for my parents' sake, but my patience isn't born of fear. I owe you nothing. I slammed the imperial decree into Xiao Jinhé's chest. How did this marriage come about? Wasn't I clear enough? He grabbed my hand, shoved the decree back into my grasp, and said coldly, "Keep this well. If you don't, it could cost you your life." I couldn't understand why he would accept a marriage he clearly didn't want. All I knew was that I couldn't marry him. I couldn't let the calamity from my dream have even the slightest chance of coming true. I locked myself in my room for 5 or 6 days, meticulously pondering ways to remedy the situation. After much deliberation, only one thing from my dream seemed worth exploring. About half a year after Xiao Jinhé and I were married, Zhou Lurong from Grand Tutor Zhou's household forcibly abducted a commoner's daughter, beating her parents and grandmother to death. 3 people in total. The Zhou family was the empress' maternal clan. By then, I was already the crown prince's consort. When the matter reached my father, he feared a thorough investigation would implicate me and could only sweep it under the rug. Afterward, those scoundrels connected to the empress family, relying on my father's oversight authority, constantly sought him out to clean up their messes. Perhaps I could try targeting the Zhou family before I marry into the family. If we can uncover a scandal severe enough to cripple them, it might just bring down both the empress and Xiao Jinhé. His Majesty has long been wary of powerful in-laws. Having father investigate this case would earn him merit, and he could then petition to annul my marriage. A most opportune solution. I intended to discuss this with father over supper, but the moment my elder sister saw me, she began her usual antics. "Father, if Luo Yufu marries Xiao Jinhé, I'd rather die." She smashed a porcelain bowl and pressed the shards against her slender neck. This was her standard playbook cry. Scream. Threaten suicide. The slightest disappointment sent her into a death-defying frenzy. Mother panicked, rushing forward to intervene. But father slammed his chopsticks down on the table. "If you want to die, go ahead. You were foolish as a child, and you're still foolish as an adult. If you've grown tired of living, no one will stop you. You 2 sisters act nothing like sisters. You don't support each other. You just scheme against each other day after day." My sister was clearly shaken by his outburst, sitting on the floor with her hands spread wide as she wept. Father, determined to curb her temper, bellowed, "If you don't want to die, then crawl to the ancestral hall and kneel before our forebears. Let them see what kind of daughters you've become." He suddenly turned and snapped at me. "You go too." Ever since we were little, whenever Luo Yuzhen caused trouble, I always got dragged into it too, kneeling before the ancestral tablets. I listened to Luo Yuzhen mutter curses under her breath. She glared at me with venom, sneering coldly. "You think the Empress wants you as her daughter-in-law because she likes you? She's after father's power." I smoothed my hair and smiled sweetly at her. "Well, yes, but I refused the marriage proposal, and she still didn't want my elder sister as her daughter-in-law. She insisted on me instead." Come to think of it, I feel rather honored. Sister had once been exiled and lost her reputation, making her unsuitable for the crown prince's household in the empress' eyes. Combined with my former docile and easily manipulated nature, I became the empress' top choice. Sister, enraged and humiliated, cursed for a long while before suddenly lunging forward to grab my collar and whisper in my ear, "What gives you the right to be so arrogant, Luo Yufu? Think marrying into the crown prince's household will make things easier? The empress dowager, your so-called mother-in-law, is no one to trifle with. Do you think you lost your virtue by accident? She orchestrated it all, to stop me and Xiao Jinhé. She deliberately fabricated a reason forcing him to marry you. Now, do you still feel honored?" I whipped my head around, fixing my gaze on her venomous grin. So that was it. Xiao Jinhé was the crown prince. How could anyone dare poison him? How could he have no attendants? How could it be that I sought him out? Who could orchestrate such perfect timing, circumstances, and alignment? I forced myself to remain calm, sneering coldly. What? Did Her Majesty the Empress tell you this herself? Do you really expect me to believe a word out of your mouth? She moved away from me, sitting down on the cushion, staring blankly at the floor. She murmured absently, "Believe it or not." I have my own ways of knowing. I knew she was telling the truth. My nails dug into my palms as hatred slowly eroded my reason. So this wretched life of mine was merely a pawn in others' power struggles. Father must have sensed my intent to refuse the marriage. Before I could speak, he cut me off. You've always admired the crown prince. Now your wish is granted. Don't be ungrateful and bring shame upon me. He didn't even ask if I had any grievances. Very well. If it comes to it, they'll stake my life on this. I must fight them to the end, having suffered this utter disgrace. Even if they don't pay back in kind, they'll make sure we both go down together. Grand Tutor Zhou pretends to be pure as the moon and wind. Yet he raised a beastly lecher who abducts common girls and commits heinous crimes. Fine. They'll bring this matter to light and show him what it means to have lust as the blade above one's head. I disguised myself and visited the Yanji pavilion. 2 girls surrounded me, greeting me with smiling eyes. Their words were neither overly flattering nor overly sweet, yet each sentence dripped with honey, as one of the capital's premier dens of iniquity. The experience was truly extraordinary. I seek someone of influence here. One girl fanned herself hesitantly. Are you looking for our madam? She rarely receives guests. If you have urgent business, perhaps I could relay your message. I flung a gold ingot onto the table, splurging half my savings, only for her to smile and shake her head. Sir, we don't break our rules for a few coins around here. What a rule. I bowed to her. Then please pass on a message for me. Sister, I'm here to redeem someone. Redeem someone. The girl looked as if she'd heard something utterly novel. Sir, you don't know Yanji Pavilion isn't like other places. Our girls aren't allowed to leave until they're 35. This. I truly didn't know. It was the first time I'd heard of such an absurd rule in a brothel. Didn't those spoiled brats cause trouble when they couldn't get the girl they wanted? Embarrassed, I picked up the gold ingot from the table and stuffed it back into my sleeve. The girls around me snickered, probably never seen someone so stingy, trying to take back money they'd already spent. Ha. Laugh all you want. You've no idea what I'm going through. What kind of bumpkin comes here pretending to be rich? Zhou Lurong folded his arms, glaring at me. You chat with the girls and think you can leave without leaving something behind. A crowd of spoiled brats surrounded him. And at the very edge, I spotted Chen Huayu. He didn't seem to recognize me, maintaining a polite smile as he stood calmly to the side. Straight and tall like a white poplar, an indescribable discomfort stirred within me. So even someone as noble as him was no different from ordinary men. My momentary distraction led Zhou Lurong to believe I'd refused to give him face. His fist slammed into my chest, sending a sharp pain through me that made me cough dryly several times. You poor bastard. Dare to cross Grandpa. I'll teach you a lesson. He raised his foot to kick me, but suddenly clutched his leg and collapsed to the ground. What's all the commotion? Calling for the king of hell. Wanyan Shuren stood on the second floor, clad in a purple robe, gazing down haughtily. The group of young masters, recognizing him, all held their breath, afraid to make a sound. I kept my head bowed low, but he tossed peanuts at me. Hey, shorty. Come up. Why must I run into him everywhere? I'm not stupid. No way. I'd obediently climb upstairs to my death. I took off running. After all, I'd disguised myself. If Wanyan Shuren wanted to hold a grudge, let him. I sprinted 3 blocks before ducking into an alley to catch my breath. Before my breath had even steadied, Wanyan Shu's voice crept up behind me, cold and menacing. Why stop? A rabbit fleeing for its life if it slows down. It dies. I shuddered. Before I could rise, Wang Yanshu grabbed the back of my neck and slammed me against the wall. Luo Yufu, you're such a naughty one. You fear me so much it would be a shame not to dislocate your arms and legs. I hurriedly promised I wouldn't dare again. He spun me around by the collar, pinning me into the corner. He yanked my beard and sneered coldly. With such meager tricks, you think you can pull the wool over my eyes? What were you doing at the lipstick pavilion? Spill it. Who did you intend to redeem? My scalp tightened. I mumbled evasively. Just messing around. Oh, Qiu Hua. Huh. My pupils contracted. How did he know? Qiu Hua was Zhou Lu Rong's precious treasure. I planned to redeem her, then set a trap for Zhou Lu Rong to walk into herself. Wang Yansu spoke coldly. I hear the Empress has granted you a marriage decree to her beloved son. He didn't wait for my reply. You refused to marry, yet cannot defy an imperial decree, so you took desperate measures, hoping to cause trouble for the Empress. To strike at the Empress' maternal clan. The most vulnerable target is Zhou Lu Rong, riddled with flaws. To deal with a rogue, one naturally uses a woman as leverage. My temples throbbed violently. How could he be so spoton? I couldn't lie to him now and risk his wrath. Your Highness, your foresight is uncanny. Wang Yanshu brushed dust from my face and sneered. Ugly as sin. Qiu Hua, they'll buy you out. Yanji Pavilion has its rules. We dare not trouble your Highness. Rules. He dismissed it with a wave. What do your Great Qi customs matter to me? True. Great Qi people followed Great Qi rules to climb the ranks, amass wealth, and avoid calamity. But as a hostage prince, Wang Yanshu was untouchably as long as the emperor avoided conflict with enemy states, and his antics remained harmless. Yet I didn't want to get too entangled with him. Nor did I wish to owe him. I'd find another way to handle Zhou Lurong's matter. Better not. Such a trifling matter as mine hardly merits your Highness' trouble. Wang Yanshu narrowed his eyes, and my words died in the shadow of his fierce glare. Speak. Continued. He raised an eyebrow. His gaze fixed on me. I meekly softened my voice. Then, thank you for your assistance, Your Highness. You fear you've mistaken me for someone else. Wang Yanshu released me and muttered something I couldn't make out. Stay away from Chenhuayu. If you don't, he'll devour you until not a bone is left. You won't even have time to cry. But, he added with a hint of amusement, Luo Yufu's smile is beautiful. Her tears, I imagine, would be quite a sight too. My sister's confinement lasted until her birthday. Feeling deeply indebted to her, our parents threw her a lavish birthday banquet, inviting every prominent figure in the city. Many talented young men came to offer congratulations, including Chenhuayu. He stood alone by the corridor, leisurely teasing sparrows. Occasionally, colleagues approached him for conversation, but he listened more than he spoke. How could such an aloof and detached person associate with someone like Zhou Lurong? Wang Yanshu claimed Chenhuayu would devour me whole, leaving not a crumb behind. But I've done him no wrong. Why does he single me out? Besides, since the imperial decree of marriage, Chenhuayu hasn't sent me a single calling card. His conduct is proper and restrained, seemingly mindful of my reputation, deliberately keeping his distance. If anyone truly harbors ill will toward me, Wang Yanshu'd be hard-pressed to name another. Look at himself first, glaring with eyes that seemed to want to kill me several times over. Today, Mother wanted my elder sister to look around and see if any young gentleman caught her eye. She said nothing, merely sitting listlessly among the crowd. Only when Xiao Jinhé appeared did her eyes brighten. Yet he merely wished her a happy birthday before turning toward me. He drew a box from his robe and handed it to me, smiling. I found a pair of jade hairpins a couple days ago. Perfect for you sisters, one each, now that I am the rightful crown princess Tobe. Xiao Jinhé naturally cannot show my elder sister the same favoritism he once did. The light in my elder sister's eyes dimmed little by little. I didn't feel particularly pleased. Instead, I felt a pang of sorrow. even in my dreams, after I die. After he clears every obstacle between him and my sister in the end, who can say what fate awaits her? Xiao Jinhé wasn't showing affection to me. He was merely putting on a show for others. To avoid the reputation of being fickle, he knew his position as crown prince was precarious. The emperor watching him constantly, he couldn't afford to make a mistake. I recalled how in my dream, Xiao Jinhé had dared to storm the nunnery only because the emperor's health had deteriorated, leaving him no time to intervene. Humph. This treacherous little villain with wolfish ambitions, even his possessions disgust me. Your Highness, this pair of hairpins for my sister and Meido's that symbolized the legendary sisters of Huang and Nuying. Xiao Jinhé feigned deep emotion, but I was determined to expose his true colors. He narrowed his eyes, suppressing his anger, opened the box in his hand, and personally placed the jade hairpin in my hair. If you dislike this style, I shall find you another. He truly was a master at feigning ignorance. At this hour, my elder sister would normally have pounced on him in protest. Yet today she remained unusually quiet, staring blankly at some distant point. Following her gaze, I saw only an empty corner of the wall. That night, as I prepared to lie down, Mother came to find me. She sat at the table, wiping away tears. Ashi, consider this compensation for the years your sister was exiled. Return the jade hairpin the crown prince gave you to Ajin. She's been tormented by this, weeping until her eyes nearly went blind. Seeing her like this breaks my heart. The knife Mother wielded at my heart was always a soft one. Her guilt toward my elder sister ran deep. My sister, sweet-tongued and lively, always cheered her up, making me seem dull and uninteresting by comparison. Even my heartfelt words lost their charm. I knew she loved my sister most. I didn't blame them for favoring her. Human hearts are inherently biased. I just didn't want to bear the weight of guilt that wasn't mine to carry. Mother, I know you love my sister dearly, but I owe her nothing. Whether I like sweets or am the one who stirs trouble, you're my mother. You know me best. If you love my sister, love her openly. Your daughter doesn't blame you. The fault lies only in my own lack of charm. I just don't want to hear your veiled accusations anymore. Pinning the blame for sister's disappearance on me, that won't change the fact you failed as parents. I've carried this heavy burden for too many years. I can't bear it anymore. Mother, after tonight, I refuse to hear anyone tell me to make amends for sister. I owe her nothing. I pulled on my robe and dug to the bottom of my trousseau chest for that broken hairpin. Just looking at it made me sick. I hadn't decided what to do with it yet, but this was the perfect excuse to get rid of it. Mother's sobs stopped abruptly, furious and speechless. She was left with nothing to say. I paid her no mind, taking the pin and heading toward my sister's courtyard. In the southeast corner of our estate lay a long-abandoned small courtyard. My sister slipped inside, and I followed her stealthily, pressing myself against the wall. I heard her speaking to someone. Young master, given the current situation, the crown prince absolutely must marry Luo Yufu. Her tone was cold when she mentioned Xiao Jinhé. Not a trace of the heartbroken madness one might expect. Only by killing her can Jinhé take her place. It hit me like a thunderclap. My sister wanted to kill me. After a moment of silence, a man's voice spoke slowly. Luo Yufu, let her live for now. My sister choked back a sob. My lord, you cannot bear to part with her. He answered indirectly. Is the daughter of the Grand Censor someone to be killed on a whim? Jinhé, I never imagined that after 10 years of teaching, I would have raised nothing but an empty-headed fool. My lord, is it that Jinhé is empty-headed, or that you harbor your own selfish desires? Before she could finish, the man across from her cut her off coldly. Jinhé, you seem rather talkative today. I heard my elder sister thud to her knees, her voice brimming with resentment. Young master, what exactly is so special about Luo Yufu? Tell Jinhé, and Jinhé can be better than her. Jinhé loves. Jinhé. I have no use for a useless fool who spouts nothing but love. Listening from outside the wall, I broke out in a cold sweat. Who was this man? And who was this woman? My sister had been missing for only 5 years. Yet he had raised her for 10. The Luo Yuzhen now living in my home was likely an imposter. What was she doing here? Was her target Xiao Jinhé? It wasn't hard to understand. Perhaps the haughty Xiao Jinhé's kindness toward me from the start was merely an order from the Empress. She needed the power my father held to oversee the officials. Xiao Jinhé was destined to marry a Luo family daughter. But what use was the crown princess title T? Oh, her. I never dreamed I'd been living in such peril all along. My mind was consumed with annulling the betrothal. Yet someone now sought my life. I had to carve out space to strike first. When my elder sister returned to the estate, her birthmark and childhood memories matched perfectly. Even her specially crafted longevity lock was undeniably hers. My heart clenched violently. My elder sister, me own flesh and blood, was she no longer in this world? Until I found proof. The truth of the Catan puppy switch had to stay buried within me. I began scrutinizing Jinhé's every move. I was too young when my sister vanished. My memories of her hazy. Only this remained clear. She possessed a fiery temper and an equally fierce pickiness about food. Her pickiness stemmed from frail health. Many foods sent her into hives, itching and burning all over. I recall Jinhé's dietary restrictions mirrored my sister's. To impersonate her so convincingly, it must have been a tremendous burden for her. My mind was so preoccupied with these thoughts I nearly collided with a wall. Wang Yanshu rode past on his tall steed, lightly tapping my forehead with his fingertip. He scolded me. Walk properly when you walk. Stop daydreaming. Today, the eldest princess hosted a gathering for the capital's nobility to taste wine and admire the moon. I stepped down from the carriage on the street before the prince's residence and encountered Wang Yanshu after only a few steps. His tall, straight figure towered over me. Against the hazy night, he seemed less fierce and more pleasing to the eye. Behind him sat a beauty, her peach-colored skirt draped over the saddle, catching the eye. In the distance, Zhou Lurong hurried along, shouting in frustration, "Qiu Hua, Qiu Hua. I've landed you such a clingy nuisance. Prepare your gratitude later, I'll come collect it," without waiting for my reply. He chuckled derisively and gave his horse a light kick. Hooves clattered forward as they galloped into the prince's residence. Wang Yanshu teased Zhou Lurong like one would a dog, sending him bouncing along behind the horse's hindquarters. Throughout the banquet, I felt like I was sitting on pins and needles, constantly glancing toward Wang Yanshu. He lay sprawled in Kua's arms, downing cup after cup of fine wine, the very picture of a drunken, debauched playboy. My head pounded fiercely. Fine. Consider it my request that he rescue Qiuhua for me. But the rest of the plan was already set. There was no need for him to risk his life becoming Zhou Lurong's human target. Yet the more I tried to distance myself from him, the more he insisted on meddling in my affairs. Our connection grew ever more inextricable. Zhou Lurong's eyes were dark and menacing, as if he might lunge forward at any moment to wrench Wang Yanshu's head off. Xiao Jinhé, of course, wouldn't let him run wild. With a couple of cold warnings, Zhou Lurong could only grudgingly back down. After 3 rounds of wine, Chen Huaiyu was suddenly pushed before the prince's seat. Zhou Lurong grinned like a show-off. "Your Highness seems in high spirits today. Let me entertain you. My friend here is a master of mimicry. With the moon shining bright, why not let him perform a piece?" The princess and the emperor shared a profound sibling bond. In great qi, everyone fawned over her, even the empress was no exception. She cast a dismissive glance at Chen Huaiyu and snorted. "A greenhorn like him dares call himself masterful. Off with you, stop annoying us." Zhou Lurong's smile broadened as he sat at her feet, playing the dutiful son and virtuous grandson. "Your Highness has seen the world. You are always generous. Grant him a chance to learn from you. Bestow some grace upon him." Chen Huaiyu stood nearby, neither humble nor arrogant. His gaze met mine, but he merely smiled indifferently. Zhou Lurong exchanged a glance with him. He covered his mouth with his sleeve, and when he spoke, the room fell silent in awe. His bird calls painted a picture of spring sunshine and falling blossoms. His cicada imitations evoked fish gliding through shimmering shallows. Tonight, with him present, even the taste of wine felt threefold more delightful. Speaking in his dialect, he delivered a comedy routine that had the princess roaring with laughter. Yet my heart sank. Though the accent was different, that voice, it was unmistakably the man who had spoken with Jinhé that night. Chen Huayu had hidden too deeply. My hair stood on end. He was smiling at me now. But to my eyes, that smile held none of the purity of moonlight or breeze. It brimmed with hypocrisy and cunning. He feigned indifference to the world, yet dared to scheme within my Luo residence, pulling off a deception so elaborate it fooled even my battle-hardened father. His constant association with Zhou Lurong also seemed insincere. She arranged for Jinhé to attempt marriage with Xiao Jinhé, while he himself lurked beside Zhou Lurong. Whose agenda was he serving? Chaos swirled within me. His was no longer a matter I could resolve alone. I must secure Jinhé swiftly. The rest, ill leave to father to unravel. Zhou Lurong went to the rouge shop demanding answers, only to be silenced. Must our great Qi nobles now act like those barbarian tribes plundering without regard for propriety? Had been reprimanded by elders recently. And even the younger Xiao Jinhé urged him to watch his words. He was seething inside. All it needed was one more spark. Rumors spread like wildfire overnight. They said the Zhou family's young master had been defeated by a foreign prince, his beloved concubine snatched away. Yet he dared not utter a peep. Everyone thought him formidable, but he turned out to be a coward, only daring to bully the common folk of our great Qi. If war broke out between the two nations, this spineless weakling would be the first to kneel. With my ugly face, I sat across from the Sihai Pavilion, my view perfectly aligned with Zhou Lurong's private room. Fury made him smash several cups. The waiter knelt to clean up the mess. Chen Huayu whispered something in his ear before he slowly calmed down. Moments later, a note was passed from the pavilion. Xia Shou, shoot dead. I leapt to my feet. Never expected Chen Huayu to be so bold, inciting Zhou Lurong to kill Wanyan Shu. Wanyan Shu's death would provide the Wanyan clan with a perfect pretext for war. Those nomads, raised on horseback, relished plunder above all else. In contrast, our court lacked capable leaders. Our generals were aging, the younger generation underdeveloped, and we'd been living off past achievements for over a decade. If His Majesty wished to avoid conflict, he would likely need to sacrifice a few heads. Zhou Lurong would be the first target. But how could his weight compare to that of a prince from an enemy state? If necessary, perhaps Xiao Jinhé would have to be sacrificed. I have no doubt about this. His Majesty has numerous sons. Even if Xiao Jinhé were gone, there are still Xiao Jinshu, Xiao Jinlan, and others. There will always be someone to inherit the throne. Should it come to that, perhaps he could even earn the reputation of a righteous ruler who sacrifices kin for the greater good. Chen Huayu is ruthless. I anticipated he would provoke Zhou Lurong into error, but I never imagined he would play such a high-stakes game. He is gambling with the lives of the entire realm. How dare he attempt to kill Wanyan Shu? I recalled how Head casually glanced at me earlier even if he didn't recognize me. Head still bowed his head with such refined courtesy. The serene calm in his eyes bore no trace of ambition. His measured pace concealed all his darkness perfectly. With the most indifferent tone, he toyed with the fate of the entire realm on the tip of his tongue. This man was truly terrifying. I practically sprinted all the way. When I saw Wanyan Shu, my heart nearly leapt out of my mouth. Xia, xia, xia. He pinched my lips together. Only after I caught my breath did he release them. Speak now. I gulped down 2 cups of tea, each word tearing at my throat. The summer hunt. Be extremely cautious. Zhou Lurong might attempt to kill His Highness. He frowned. Was rushing over just to say that. I nodded frantically. Of course it was worth it. If Wanyan Shu is careless and dies, I won't have to marry Xiao Jinhé, but I'll become a traitor to the great Qi. I can't toy with the lives of the entire realm. Wang Yanshu seemed to misunderstand my meaning. His gaze suddenly softened, gentle as ripples on a lake stirred by the wind, making my cheeks flush. "They'll be careful for you. He suddenly drew his bow and shot an arrow that struck the bullseye. "You see, if someone tries to kill me, they'd better succeed. Otherwise, they'll just have to wait until I recover and kill them back until they're dead." His sinister gaze reminded me of his relentless expression in my dreams, the agony and terror of being pierced by countless arrows. The memory still made my heart race. "Would your highness treat anyone who harms you this way, even if it was unintentional?" I shuddered. Wang Yansu pondered seriously before answering. "You. Except you. He draped a garment over me. "Or tell me why you fear me, so I can change." I forced an ugly smile, shook my head, and remained silent. It was because of a dream words I could never utter. Tribute from the western regions arrived at the palace. I heard they'd sent gentian berries this year, and Xiao Jinhé invited me to buy Ma Mountain to admire and taste them. I immediately pushed Jinhé forward. "My sister hasn't eaten or slept well lately. Your Highness, perhaps you should spend more time with her. Gentian berries are a rare delicacy, and my sister has always loved novel things. Maybe it could cheer her up." He fell silent for a moment, then sneered coldly. "Luo Yufu, do you intend to spend your entire life at odds with me? Forgive my frankness, Your Highness, but you are not worthy of my lifelong devotion, Luo Yufu. You truly have no shame, with no one around." His true nature finally surfaced. "Have you forgotten how you threw yourself at me? Now you play the high and mighty. Be careful not to overplay your hand. Well, see how you end up groveling at my feet, begging for mercy." I couldn't be bothered to argue with him. Ignoring such a man hurts him more than stabbing him with a knife. Before dinner, Jinhé returned to the mansion. I deliberately brought up the tribute fruits being sent to the capital during the meal. I heard gentian berries only bear fruit once every 10 years. No wonder I haven't seen His Majesty bestow them since I tasted one as a child. I wonder if he'll have the fortune to try them this time. Jinhé promptly chimed in. "Today His Highness invited me to the mountains to escape the heat. He brought a basket of adorable fruits, calling them gentian berries. They're sweet and sour. Quite delicious." My parents' expressions darkened instantly. I let the corners of my lips curl slightly. My elder sister cannot eat gentian berries. I still remember that single bite from childhood nearly costing her half her life. I didn't know how Jinhé had discovered my sister's dietary restrictions. But since the gentian berries were an imperial gift, Father feared offending the emperor and hadn't mentioned her allergy to anyone. He reasoned that such a rare delicacy might only come once in a lifetime, so had simply be extra cautious. "Jinhé, you've given yourself away." Father and mother instinctively reached for the doctor's call, but I stopped them. It's been a full day. If she were going to be ill, she would have been by now. Isn't she perfectly fine? A flicker of panic crossed Jinhé's face, but she recovered quickly. "Father, mother, please don't worry. Perhaps during my time wandering alone, I had little choice in what I ate or drank. My constitution must have grown somewhat sturdier than before." Mother's lips trembled slightly. The mere mention of it brought tears to her eyes. Father sighed deeply, his guilt written all over his face. Suddenly, I wondered, when they discover that the girl they've poured their hearts into caring for these past years isn't their own flesh and blood, will they feel they've wronged me? Will they love me as deeply as they've loved this imposter? I hid my tears and smiled warmly at Jinhé. "How come your health fluctuates so wildly? You feel sick all night after eating the almond paste you always have, yet you recover instantly from eating the bitter gentian fruit you rarely touch. Have you forgotten that year when you lay sick for over half a month after eating just one fruit, and then threw away all the gentian fruit in the house afterward?" Her voice dripped with resentment. "Of course I remember. How could I forget? Today I only wanted to try a little. Just a taste." Seeing nothing happened, I took a few more bites. "Luo Yuzhen, what's the point of bringing this up now?" "No point at all. I just want to ask. Are you Luo Yuzhen of the Luo household?" or the impostor standing in for the real one? The emperor bestowed only 2 fruits upon father back the none for me and 1 for my elder sister. Where would there be any spare for her to discard? Father grew suspicious. Jinhé feigned ignorance, burying herself in mother's embrace, claiming she couldn't understand my ramblings. I laid out everything that night. Father and mother stared speechless, their eyes darting between my sister and me. If father doubts me, let him conduct the blood test himself. The truth will be clear. Jinhé clutched mother's sleeve, wailing, "No. I want father. I'm your flesh and blood. How could you not recognize me? Luo Yufu, you'd only be happy if I died, wouldn't you?" Mother clutched her, sobbing. "She's always been fine, how could she be fake? Husband, please stop testing her. Didn't we do this when we found Jinhé? Hurting her like this? How will she live her life from now on? Weak-hearted woman. Having served as an official for years, how could my father not grasp the gravity of what ID just revealed? Who planted this woman in the Luo household? What purpose did she serve, scheming so relentlessly to marry Xiao Jinhé? Such meticulous planning could never be ordinary, with royal connections involved. This matter demanded utmost vigilance. Father personally poured a bowl of clear water, pricked his finger, and watched the 2 drops of blood float and sink within it. Word spread that Wanyansu had been struck by an arrow during the summer hunt. Chen Huayu, a close friend of Zhou Lu Rong, submitted a memorial to His Majesty, exposing how Lu Rong harbored resentment toward Wanyansu over a courtesan. The emperor flew into a rage. Seizing this opening, a snowflake-like pile of memorials flooded the imperial study, detailing how the empress had shielded her maternal clan, thereby nurturing such an irresponsible fool. The empress acted swiftly. Before the emperor could speak, she executed Zhou Lu Rong in the name of justice, severing his head and sending it to the Wanyan tribe to appease the emperor's fury. This woman was ruthless indeed. Her decisive action saved Xiao Jinhé's precarious position as crown prince. Yet, just as calm seemed imminent, rumors suddenly swirled through the capital, claiming the crown prince Xiao Jinhé was unworthy of his title, having defiled Luo Yufu, the daughter of the censor. I will never forget the humiliation when the imperial matrons, acting on the emperor's command, came to verify my identity. Lying on the bed, I silently processed my emotions. Xiao Jinhé came to beg me, urging me to enter the palace and declare to His Majesty that our forbidden fruit was stolen out of mutual, irresistible passion. Your Highness, do you recall saying that begging requires kneeling at one's feet? Tail wagging in supplication, without hesitation, he fell to his knees with a thud. Yufu, for the sake of our childhood friendship, help me this once. He truly had no shame left, even setting aside the dream. Considering all the ways had hurt me for Jinhé's sake, how dare he come begging now? Well, since he's begged, I might as well see it through. When I met His Majesty, I said nothing, only wept. Xiao Jinhé urged me incessantly. Ashi, explain to Father Emperor. Speak up. I couldn't elaborate. The slightest slip would make His Majesty suspect. Why did my father conceal this? Was he colluding with the Empress, using this as an opportunity to advance their faction? I wept first. The more Xiao Jinhé urged me, the more I cowered. He shouted at me, then apologized softly. This erratic display was all witnessed by the Emperor. Then, suddenly, he uttered, His Highness ordered me to keep this quiet. Or else, you're lying. Xiao Jinhé roared. But the emperor had lost all patience. With a wave of his hand, he ordered the guards to drag him away. Deposition. Imprisonment. That was his fate. Compared to a swift death, the collapse of his power would torment him day and night, driving him to utter despair. Xiao Jinhé's wails still echoed in my ears when a palace attendant arrived to announce my father had urgent matters to discuss. I waited at the palace gates until late into the night before seeing my father emerge. His body weighed down by exhaustion. He had visibly aged considerably in recent times. Father had entered the palace to accuse the third prince of disrupting court order through his bid for the throne, manipulating court officials, and committing grave offenses. Chen Huaiyu was the third prince's man, and so was Jin'er. From the day we discovered Jin'er was an imposter, the third prince's downfall became inevitable, yet father had intended to gather more evidence before acting. But then, mother secretly released Jin'er. With our most crucial witness gone, the third prince would surely strike swiftly upon learning this, condemning our Luo family to ruin. Father had to strike first before the third prince could act. Fortunately, I had previously mentioned Chen Huaiyu to him. Father targeted him and gathered some evidence. Father staked years of his most trusted aide's loyalty, banging his head raw in the imperial study until he finally persuaded His Majesty to investigate thoroughly. Ashi, don't blame your mother. She just missed your sister so terribly. I picked at my fingers, my throat too tight to speak. But mother, you have more than one daughter. Are you willing to sacrifice our entire family for a mere counterfeit? Mother, you've truly lost your mind. My elder sister is already dead. Jin'er said so herself. Chen Huaiyu was ruthless. To test her constitution, he made her eat all manner of forbidden substances like tasting 100 herbs. By the second year, she passed away. 2 months later, the third prince was exiled to the frontier, forbidden to return to the capital without imperial decree. All his accomplices were captured and awaited execution. Chen Huaiyu sent me a letter through an intermediary, pouring out his thoughts like a dying man's last thoughts. He said his mother was raped and killed by Grand Tutor Zhou. Yet his father was too weak and cowardly to even utter a word of protest. He confessed he had always loved me, consumed by jealousy that Xiao Jinhé could claim my wholehearted devotion. His entire life, he craved power, yearned to avenge his mother, and dreamed of proudly sending envoys to propose marriage to me. But now, none of that could ever happen. He said he was sorry for all the suffering I endured, for it was all orchestrated by his own hand. He called me his goddess. Yet he foolishly tried to pull me down from my pedestal, hoping to draw closer to me. Truthfully, had he heeded Jin'er's counsel and eliminated me sooner, perhaps had already attained the power he craved. I burned the letter. Amid the flickering flames, I could only sigh. A peaceful life truly was an unattainable luxury. Mother's condition worsened by the day. She lashed out at me whenever she saw me, cursing me as a harbinger of misfortune who had thrown the household into chaos. She demanded I return her Jin'er. Father wanted to send her back to her uncle's home in Suzhou, but I stopped him. Let me go instead. This capital city was utterly rotten to me. After the 12th lunar month, I bid farewell to my parents. Seated in the carriage, I saw the hem of my mother's robe hidden behind the gate. Was she crying? Was she reluctant to let me go too? But she was ill. The imperial physician said I must stay far from her. This departure meant who knew when I'd return to the capital. Outside my carriage, the clatter of hooves grew louder. Soon, someone lifted the curtain and glared at me through gritted teeth. Didn't you think I'd come after you? Couldn't bear to lift the scrap of cloth to see. Wang Yanshu's fierce expression now felt far more comforting than before. Over this past year, watching mother sink deeper into her own delusions, I came to understand many things. In the end, one must keep their eyes on the path beneath their feet. After deliberately setting aside my emotional baggage, I found Wang Yansu wasn't so terrifying after all when I interacted with him again. He might look like a vicious wolf, but once he swore allegiance, he sheathed his fangs and claws. Occasionally, he'd even roll around on the ground to amuse me. How did you follow me? Stop causing trouble. Leaving the capital without permission is a serious crime. I whispered, but Wang Yanshu rolled his eyes at me, refusing to acknowledge my concern. His Majesty permitted it. How did you manage that? I pressed my face against the window frame, asking him, is that such a difficult thing? When I want something, I always find a way to get it. He sounded a bit smug. Have you found a place to stay? I mentally rehearsed how I'd explain it to my uncle if he suggested crashing at my place. I'm staying at Soyuo Hall, his expression was mocking. As if laughing at my overthinking. Ordinary places don't suit me. He couldn't resist taking a dig at me too. But then again, his pack of wolf cubs probably needed a bright, airy place to stay. Seoul Hall was a renowned paradise on earth. His Majesty had once stayed there during his southern tour, and upon returning to the palace, had copied it exactly to build a fake Seoul Hall. I felt a surge of secret delight. Then I'll come visit you whenever I have time. Wang Yanshu was sharp as a tack. He gave a cold laugh. If you just admit you're coming to freeload on food, lodging, and scenery, I might even think more of you. Don't forget to send a formal invitation when you come. Write it properly. If you try to cut corners, I won't open the door. The journey through towering mountains and winding rivers suddenly felt less grueling. Extra. Chin Huayu. The day my mother hanged herself, I clutched her embroidered shoes and stormed into Grand Tutor Zhou's residence demanding answers. They broke 2 of my ribs. Those vicious servants treated me like a punching bag. Kicking, punching, and spitting on me. I thought I was done for. But then a lost little girl stumbled in. She cried out in fright. But after just 2 sobs, the men let me go. Miss Luo, please don't cry. If you damage your voice, well, be punished. From that day on, I learned power matters. I also learned that the second daughter of Inspector Luo was a crybaby. Luo Yufu cried often, usually hiding away to weep in secret. Her elder sister was a shrewd girl who constantly caused trouble, then blamed it all on her. I hated that girl because she made the girl I liked cry. My first act of mischief was devising a plan to kidnap Luo Yuzhen. Luo Yufu cried for a long time over it. My heart ached for her, but I thought that after this bout of tears, her life would be much easier. The girl I loved should be her parents' sole darling, not endlessly shedding tears. So I have no regrets. My first pang of jealousy came when Xiao Jinhé appeared in Luo Yufu's life. He was skilled at stirring young hearts, playing hard to get. Hot one moment, cold the next. The girl I loved cried for him, then laughed for him. That spot beside her should have been mine. I would never have let her shed tears. I arranged for Jin'er to enter the Luo household, where she easily uncovered Xiao Jinhé's despicable nature, always chasing novelty and discarding the old. Luo Yufu cried again. My heart ached for her, but I believed that after this bout of tears, she would no longer so readily give her heart to others. So I have no regrets. Jin'er and Xiao Jinhé's relationship progressed smoothly, but the Empress disliked her. Finding her temperament too unpredictable, she was determined to make Luo Yufu the crown prince's consort. So I devised a plan with her, to make Xiao Jinhé and Luo Yufu consummate their relationship. But in truth, the one who should have been with Xiao Jinhé that night, making love, was Jin'er. She disobeyed my orders. This was the first time. The girl I loved wept again, and my heart ached for her. I owed her this. I wanted to tell her, it's okay, as long as it's you. Nothing else matters, but I am truly despicable, in the darkest corners of my soul. I also felt a twisted joy. She was too perfect. Now that she'd fallen from grace, did that mean I was suddenly worthy of her? Even just a fraction. I found myself in an agonizing dilemma, torn between doubting my actions and justifying them as being for her sake. Cowardly. I laid all blame upon Jin'er. When she confessed her love for me and refused to submit to Xiao Jinhé, I only found her facetiously reminiscent of Luo Yufu utterly repulsive. I told myself to keep her for now. Once my plans succeeded, I would tear her limb from limb to avenge my Afu. But later, just as success seemed within reach, karma struck. Fate played a cruel joke. My Afu saved my life, only to personally send me to prison. I owed her. She was right. I wrote her a letter, tediously recounting my messy life, but what I truly wanted to say fit in just 4 words at the end. I want to see you. I want to see you. Luo Yufu. She didn't come, as I expected, but I have no regrets. Mother, Huayu has avenged your wrongs. All who harmed you directly or indirectly have met their deserved ends. Mother. Wait for me. Huayu will join you soon. I still wish to hear you sing. Little bunny. My dear. Little Huayu. My dear. Wan Yen Shu. Before I reached Great Qi, that old bastard warned me. If I failed to seize their city defenses map, he'd slaughter the woman who bore me. Ha! I was raised in a den of wolves. My father was an ancient wolf, and I drank wolf's milk. His affairs, her affairs, what the hell do they matter to me? The day I arrived in Qi, my first act was to slash the envoy who escorted me. When I was a child, he kicked me in the gut and stomped on my face. I had to show him how unforgiving I am. I ran rampant in Qi, nearly driving the old bastard to his grave. He stopped mentioning the city plans, only warning me not to overstep his troops weren't fully trained yet. I couldn't care less. This godforsaken place, Great Qi, was unbearably dull. I missed the grasslands, missed the wolf packs. My teeth itched, that kind of itch born of starvation for flesh. I needed prey to soothe my restless blood. Then I encountered Luo Yufu. Among Great Qi's millions, not one trembled at my sight like she did, like a startled white rabbit. Even her trembling was strangely beautiful. I found it rather amusing. Such a coward was perfect prey to toy with. Luo Yufu was my plaything. When bored, I'd extend my claws to tease her. The more terrified she grew, the more I craved to torment her. It was quite satisfying. Truly. It was perfect. Until I caught her smiling at Chen Huayu. Her laughter shook her like a trembling flower branch. Her eyes sparkled as she gazed at him, staring at the two of them. I felt a dull ache in my chest. I'd never seen that look on her face before. An emotion overwhelmed my reason. When I finally snapped back to reality, I realized I'd done something I'd never do in a lifetime. Fight another man over a woman. She stood beside me. Yet her gaze was tethered to another man. By my nature, I should have thrown her into the lake. But my anger only dared to simmer within me. I didn't know what had come over me. I holed up in my mansion for 3 days, unable to eat or sleep. All I could think about was Luo Yufu, but this time, it wasn't about how to intimidate her. Her smile lingered in my mind, laughing and laughing. Yet that laughter wasn't meant for me. I felt both furious and heartbroken, as if a piece of my heart had been torn out. I muttered to Totem that I felt sick. He patted me with his tail, then trotted over to lie beside his mate, letting her lick his fur. Lick it. Lick it. Luo Yufu isn't someone I can chase down by eagerly playing the sycophant. And I won't play the sycophant. My temper's too short to grovel. All I can do is shoulder some of the burden on her back. She dislikes my domineering ways, but she fears me. That fear makes her obey. If that's how it is, then let her fear me, a woman like her, battling the Empress, the Crown Prince, Chen Huayu, her fake sister. I was once like her, fighting alone and crushing countless foes to crawl out of that den of wolves. Back then, such struggles felt as easy as moving a finger. But now, I fear she'll exhaust herself to death. It doesn't matter that she hates me, no one in this world ever liked me anyway. I only want her to live happily. I want her smile to shine forever. Then that day, she ran herself nearly breathless just to warn me. Be careful of Xiao, but I scowled and scolded her instead. I really am sick. I hate that I don't have Chen Huayu's mouth. A few words from him could make her heart bloom. This useless tongue of mine is better off gone. In the 4th year I pursued Luo Yufu. I finally scared her into the Sulao Hall. On our wedding day, I feasted the entire city and welcomed her home in splendor. On our wedding night, trembling beneath me, she was so adorable and tender it only made me want to tease her more. Easy there, you beast. Now you're happy, aren't you? She scolded me, eyes red. I whispered into her ear. I told you what I want. I always find a way to get. I wouldn't tell her how many incense sticks I'd burned for the Bodhisattva for her sake. Tomorrow, I'd have to go again. Beg the Bodhisattva to grant me a little wolf cub to keep her company. The story ends here. Welcome to subscribe to this channel. Thank you.